Take some pictures too.
Right.
What's that?
Good evening. Bring to order the Lathrop-Manteca Fire Protection District regular board meeting for November 15th, 2018 at 7 p.m. There was no closed session this evening. We'll go straight to roll call.
Chairman Jeremy Coe.
Present.
Vice Chair John Gish.
Here.
Director Ty Payton.
Present.
Director Robert Gleason.
Present.
Director Gloriana Rhodes.
Present.
Thank you.
Would everyone please join me with a pledge of allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I bet you're going to miss that. No comma.
Okay, declaration of conflict of interest. I'll start on my left.
None.
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 None here. We'll go into presentations. We have a representative from the CSDA.
Never seen him at any of the conferences, but okay. No.
I wasn't at the Leadership Academy, but I'm usually at most of the conferences. So, anyways, well, thank you so much, directors, staff, and community members. Excuse me. My name is Dane Wadley. I'm a field coordinator with the California Special Districts Association here tonight on behalf of the foundation arm of CSDA, the Special District Leadership Foundation, to hand out some awards, which of course I love doing. So, but just give you a little bit of background on the Leadership Foundation, as I kind of touched on. It's the foundation arm, dedicated to promoting best management practices, good governance in special districts, which of course you guys are. And they do that through some scholarship programs and, of course, some recognition programs. And there's 4 of them total. There's 2 for districts as a whole to get, or then there's some individual recognition programs. Obviously, the ones we're presenting tonight are the recognition and special district governance. And just as a brief reminder for what you have to do to actually earn that certificate from SDLF is first attend our Special District Leadership Academy. Make sure I say that slowly so I don't get caught up on it, which is a 2.5-day conference that we offer 2 or 3 times a year for, geared towards board members, but also for staff as well. And it covers classes. The classes include governance foundations, communicating with the public, and the board's role in like finance and HR, et cetera. So completing that conference, which is an endeavor in itself. I did it my first year going to CSDA, and I have a special district background too. And when I came out of it, I was like, got them a big binder of information, which I still refer to quite a bit. So I'm sure you had a similar type of experience. But it's obviously it's a very very well done conference, a lot of great information, and I appreciate you guys attending it. And then along those same lines, then you have to do 10 hours of kind of ongoing education, local government, either local government from CSDA or some other association. So obviously 3 of the board members and the chief and Becky have already earned that. And so I'd like to present those. One of the points, though, I did want to make, we talk about, of course, why it's so important is for you guys just to demonstrate your commitment and to best practices and be the best board members and staff that you can for your community. But it also helps us at CSDA, and particularly with one of the other things that we do is we're, of course, an advocate for special districts up in Sacramento and the Capitol. And a lot of the pushback or the questions we get in the Capitol are from legislators who are like, boy, there's all these special districts out there. Do these board members, do they know what they're doing? Do the staff know what they're doing? Are they going through training, et cetera? Because, of course, you're stewards of taxpayer dollars, right? And when we have folks like yourselves who go through these programs, obviously we have all the data, it sure makes our advocacy efforts a lot easier because we can say, look, we have, our folks are being proactive and getting training, doing what they're supposed to do. Don't pass a new mandate, essentially, is one of the arguments that we make. So I always like to just tie this into CSDA, the work that we do for you guys. Obviously, it's a great accomplishment for you guys individually and for your community, but it sure helps us as a statewide association on your behalf. So thank you so much from CSDA's side. And So I have certificates here. I also have lapel pins for Leadership Foundation, which I expect all of you to wear at all times, right? But anyways, thank you so much. I'd love to just do a photo op with you guys, and happy to answer any questions. But thank you once again, and congratulations on your accomplishment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
What do we want to do?
let's go ahead and go down
Yeah, because he wants a photo.
here. Director Gleason.
So it's a photo op without the
Yeah.
chief.
Yes.
I think that's historic.
There you go. Someone has
Well,
to
we
say
can, we can put a big flame and,
We need a cutout.
yeah. Thank you so much.
There's yours. You're okay.
We're going.
Let's go right here. Yes. And if you've got your chiefs, maybe you could stand for the chief.
I don't know, that's giving me a little too much responsibility, so.
Well, thank you. Perfect. If we could see those certificates.
Hold on.
Thank you, Becky, you got yours? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Payne.
Get over there. I like the great work.
Are we close enough?
Okay, here we go. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks so
You know
much.
we're gonna put a big flame in your face.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Good text number there.
That's right. Yep, perfect.
Dane. Dane. Thank you very much, Dane.
Once again, I wanted to thank you, Dane, for taking the time to present it since we were unable to attend the last conference. So thank you very much. And I would like to also thank the district for allowing the board members to attend. And I did find it very helpful, and especially my first year. Found it very extremely beneficial. And I do encourage the future board members to also do the same thing, hopefully next year. At this time, do we have any public comment, interest cards?
I have no requests, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any public comment? If not, we'll go into the consent items. If you would read those for us, please.
Consent calendar item 8.1, October 18, 2018 regular board meeting minutes. Item 8.2, monthly register of warrants. Item 8.3, receive and file October 2018 incident and training report. Item 8.4, receive and file monthly year-to-date budget report.
Okay, do I have a motion for consent items?
I make a motion that we approve consent items 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, and 8.4.
I have a motion and I have a second. However, I do have Vice Chair Gish that would like to comment.
For 8.1 and 10.1, it's just a typo. It says Chairman Coe returned in chambers when he was absent.
So we have a motion on the floor. Would someone like to withdraw that motion?
We can actually, if we can approve the minutes as amended, if so choose to.
Okay. Director Gleason, are you okay with him amending the motion to
So
include the
amended.
correction?
So amended.
Okay, I'll show Director Payton as the second. Any other discussion? Then we'll go ahead with the roll call.
Director Rhodes?
Yes.
Director Gleason?
Yes.
Director Payton? Yes. Vice Chair Gish?
Yes.
Chairman Coe?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving on to item 9.1, Mr. Chair, and at this point, we've got a public hearing. So we would need to open the public hearing, and if there's any comments, or take comments on behalf of the public, and then we would close that public hearing, and then the board could have discussion and an ultimate decision. We'd go through the presentation. We could actually go through the presentation first, if you would like to do that.
I would.
Absolutely. So, okay, so item 9.1 is going to be the fire facility fee report, the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District. Enclosed is the required annual fire facility report for the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District. As you know, the district collects fees from two jurisdictions, the city of Lathrop and the unincorporated areas of San Joaquin County, both of which are served by the fire district. In order to continue to provide an acceptable level of fire protection to the citizens of the district, funding for additional fire stations, equipment, and related facilities must be provided. Section 66,000 of the California Government Code authorizes cities and counties to establish fees on behalf of fire districts to finance the construction of new facilities and made necessary by new development. The law requires a minimum of 15 days public notice of the above report. The report has been posted at all of our fire stations and the administrative offices since November 1st, 2018. The report has been forwarded to both the City of Lathrop and San Joaquin County as required by Government Code 66,000. Staff recommends that the Fire Board adopt resolution number 2018-11 to accept and file the fire facility fee report after being reviewed and discussed as properly noticed through the public hearing. So at this point, that is the staff presentation. We can then open the public hearing and take any comments, and then close the public hearing, and it would come back to the board for your decisions.
I do have a question before you open the public hearing, only because the answer would be something that people would, if they were here, would have a right to either, be against or in favor of. So we are not increasing or changing it?
That's correct.
Okay. That's, because usually for the whole public hearing piece, it's whether we're going to change it that makes a big difference. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing for item 9.1 to approve and adopt the resolution of 2018-11, the fire facility fee report. At this time, if anyone has anything to comment, now's the time. For or against? Okay, at this time, I will close the public hearing. Okay, I'll bring it to the board on the right.
I have no questions. I'm just curious. Well, I guess it is a question. I'm just curious. When was the last time that we raised it? Do we know that or not?
You know what, it's been some time. I don't have that answer.
Yeah.
I would have to get with the fire chief and have him.
Okay. I'm just curious if it's time that we start looking at increasing it or, yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay, Dirk. Comments? No?
Ready to make a motion?
Do we have to do two meetings public hearing or just one?
Just the one,
Okay.
and a motion would be appropriate at
Okay.
this time with a second.
At this time, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion that we,
Did you close it?
I did.
Okay,
Did.
sorry about that, yeah.
No problem.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2018-11 to accept and file the fire facility report.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Director Gleason, a second by Vice Chair Gish. Roll call.
Director Rhodes,
Yes,
Director Gleason,
Yes?
Director Payton,
Yes.
Vice Chair Gish,
Yes.
Chairman Coe.
Yes. Go to schedule item 10.1 to approve and authorize the fire chief to execute related solar PPA documents on behalf of the fire district.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 10.1 Staff report, just in summary, in April of 2017, the fire district entered into a power purchase agreements for solar at fire stations 31 and 34. At that time, both the financing company and the installer required the fire board's chair to sign all documents related to the project. Additionally, a third-party solar program auditor was brought in to handle all related documentation that would be needed up front. This item needs to be reviewed as a housekeeping issue related to the final stages of the project. As the project moved through various stages, the financier has demanded that the fire board members again sign additional documentation. Staff has voiced concerns to the financier that this would be better resolved through the fire chief as the chief executive officer of the fire district. The financier and installer are now realizing the concerns that both the fire chief and staff initially stated, and as such, both the installer and financier are now sensitive that this initial demand is now impacting their ability to complete additional documentation that they are now requesting. While we are in the final stages and Station 34 is currently fully operational, it is important to note that the documents will continue to need a signatory authority, and that's for, as an example, changes in address, which we anticipate happening here shortly, certificates of commencement, Station 34, the current item, insurance notifications, and the others as well. Staff recommends that the fire board approve and authorize the fire chief to execute the related solar PPA documents on behalf of the fire district, and there's a no-cost item. And any questions?
I'll start on my left.
No questions.
Oh,
Something to ask the chief when he comes back. Hopefully, we do have something, we should have something on 5. I mean, let me backtrack. It is the role of that administrator to sign documents. One's board does the approvals through ordinance and whatever. But I know that this has come up in my years on the board a number of times, and maybe some other districts or something have something on file that says yes, so we don't encounter these pieces where, once we've made that decision, we know somebody's going to sign it, and we know who's going to sign it. But maybe, so if this is something you can share with the chief when he comes back, maybe we need something on file that identifies that, yeah, if we've approved it, yeah, he's the person that signs it.
okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Someone else should make the motion. I can make the motion. I make the motion, we authorize the chief to go ahead and sign his John Henry on the documents.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Director Gleason, a second by Vice Chair Gish. I'll take a roll call.
Director Rhodes?
Yes.
Director Gleason?
Yes?
Director Payton?
Yes.
Vice Chair Gish?
Yes.
Chairman Coe?
Yes. Okay, that's the only scheduled item. We'll go to informational items with the chief's report.
So just a quick report. The first thing that I would like to say is that technology is great in that the fire chief is actually watching the meeting this evening. And just to answer your question about when the last time the fire facility fees were increased was 2006.
Okay. Oh, that's a
So
long time ago.
just got a real-time text there. Anyhow, he wants to be at this meeting. Unfortunately, the fires and the devastation that's occurred, up at the campfire, he is deployed to that, and their efforts are huge right now. In fact, we haven't really posted a lot on our Facebook because of the devastation that area is going through right now. It's amazing what's happening. So, but to continue moving forward, the firefighter engineer application process, we did receive those applications, and we did hold a test, and that was held on November 10th. So that process is moving forward. The district annual holiday party is coming up, just as a reminder for your calendars, on December 8th. And that there is a hands-only CPR course that's coming up that we're going to be doing November 24th, and that may be coming, I believe is that going to be held in Target? Yeah, there's a hands-only CPR outreach that we're moving through with some of those volunteer efforts that have been outlined that we're going to just briefly touch on here, but yeah. So hands-only CPR coming to a retail store location next, near you, possibly. So anyhow, continuing on with the strategic operational, this is something that we've had on the agenda just as a recap when we go through items so that we can just kind of share how we're meeting those goals and communicate those effectively. So this month, we had to engage the community to support and provide volunteer service to enhance our mission. Well, obviously, one of our missions here in item 3 is to have trained members in our community that can deliver hands-only CPR in a critical time of need that could be life or death. And by having these outreaching efforts, we are encouraging the public to to actually learn a skill that they can perform to increase or enhance what our mission is, and that's to save lives, property, and the environment. So just wanted to highlight that item there. And then 2, I wanted to also back up and that we provide a pathway to good governance certification. And I think that, I just want to say congratulations. I know the chief would want to say congratulations to you folks because that is right there, item number 2. So nice work, and the new board members have something that they can look forward to do as well. All right, and then formally establishing clearly defined governance policies. We do have some meetings that are coming up that have been scheduled, and so that those will be coming before you here shortly as well. So that, in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a meeting tomorrow regarding that. So yeah, meeting tomorrow happening with that. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm going to turn it back over to you for board comments.
Okay, I'll go first. Do we have any update on the progress of Station 35? Are we still on schedule to have that ready by the end of the year?
I'll go ahead and let the fire chief comment on that. I don't have all the details with that, and he would probably be a much better fit to answer those questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Should we wait for a text?
That's a good one.
How about progress with the Station 31 remodel? Do you know where that stands?
You know what, I don't. That's probably a better question for the fire chief as well, and we're taking notes, and I'm certainly pass that on to him. Yeah,
Okay.
those questions.
He's gonna
Start on my right.
Okay.
Before
Go
we
ahead.
start, I do want to say that those are still items that are actively engaged on our calendar as an organization.
Okay.
So I do want to just share that piece of information.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Hopefully the chief is still watching, and I know we have some other folks up there as well. Maybe they're all watching, maybe they're not. But I do want to put this in the record. Never in all of the years I've lived in California, and they've been many, have I ever felt the way I do during this time with these fires. These fires seem to have been the catalyst of all others, putting us in a dire situation in terms of as far away as we are from them, we still have an issue of not being able to breathe. So they have affected, I believe, everyone in California dramatically, not as dramatically as the people who are going through the devastation. And again, I've never known so many people personally that have lost everything as I have during this time. You hear about it, you see it in the news, but now it seems like it's somebody's uncle that you know, or it's a good friend or somebody that lived in your neighborhood. With that being said, I want to express my certainty that the decisions of this district to always have our firefighters and our chief, and I know you've been a part of it, in these fires, regardless of how far they are from our little city of Lathrop, has been, I'm very certain that that was always the best way to go. Not only are we providing our firefighters with tremendous training that they're gathering as they go into other areas, that they can bring back, because we don't know where we will be a year from now, a month from now, a week from now. In the same breath, they are not only helping others, but they're helping us as well. Because this afternoon, Delta College, University of Pacific, Stanislaus, schools in the area are starting to shut down because of all of the health issues of students. I know that Manteca Unified and Banta Unified are looking at it carefully, but the number of kids that are not even in school because they're having problems with cough and everything else. So with that being said, thank you, Chief, wherever you're at. Thank you, firefighters, whether you're here or there, because even if you're not engaged in the fire, I know that there has to be overtime to cover and support for families and so forth. So I think we're an awesome district, not only in what we do for ourselves, but what we do for others. So thank you very much.
I think we just need to ask everyone to keep our crews and everybody affected in their thoughts and prayers through all this. I know our crews are taking a beating. I think they were cutting some nice hand line last night. So, well, as this is my last meeting as part of the board, I just want to take a minute to say a few thank yous. Thank you to the people who have elected me for the last 2 terms, for your faith and confidence in me and my abilities. I want to say thank you to the office staff, who are very hard workers and very talented, and took very good care of me. 8 years ago, when I was first approached by Chief Capper, who was a captain at the time, and asked to run for the board, I had basically 2 goals. One was to do things that were beneficial for the firefighters, the people that run into danger, and who stand between us and whatever the emergency is. And also do things that were beneficial for the people, the citizens of the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District. And I think over the 8 years, we've done some things that we can be proud of, that I'm proud of. We've upgraded a lot of the apparatus. We've gotten a truck and upgraded other apparatus. For instance, rescue, hazmat, and water rescue, those kind of things. We're building a new station building a new station, that's good. We've gotten the firefighters a raise, along with the chief, an increase in salary. We've given the chief a command staff. We've promoted battalion chiefs that work directly for the chief. And also there's Captain Madowski, Chief Madowski, who does a wonderful job. And the thing I'm most proud of, and my pet project when I came on, was we have increased the diversity in this department. We now have people of color and women, a woman represented in this department, and I think that's an amazing thing. And so I want to say thank you to the board members. I've learned a lot from you, including the 3 that I worked with who are no longer part of the board, including Mr. Gatto, who's sitting in the back. I learned a lot from you all. I thank you for that. And let me close by saying, when I was a firefighter in Oakland, I worked for 30 years. I worked for several chiefs of the department. Most were good. Some were less than good. We had a couple that were mediocre, and for one of them, mediocre is being generous. And then I worked for 2 that I thought were outstanding. They were outstanding chiefs. They were outstanding leaders. I want to say that I think that Lathrop is very, very fortunate in that we have a chief that is an outstanding leader. We have an outstanding chief. I think that the future of the Lathrop-Manteca Fire Department is very good. Thank you for letting me be a part of it the last 8 years, and I'll continue to monitor from the back along with Benny. All right, so thank you. All right. Thank you, Chief.
So I have a quick question about hands-only CPR. So do we expose those classes to an AED? So if an AED shows up on scene, they don't touch the body when it says clear and someone pushes a button. Do we expose them to that, or we just strictly do hands-only CPR?
You know what, I'd have to get a definitive answer for that. I know that in some of the courses, they have been exposed to an AED and interface with that, and I think that there are other courses that are just strictly hands-only CPR.
Okay. Yeah, because that's kind of a concern if someone decides that they're going to, touch a loved one when you push the orange button, so then you got 2 victims.
Well, I don't know a single one that doesn't announce it before it
It
does
still
it.
announces, but you got a knee it touches, you got, people don't think, well, they don't think when it's normal, no, let alone think when their adrenaline's pumping. So just a thought. I'm going to hold all my comments until next month on December 19th. Yeah, it's been on my calendar for a while. So when Tosh comes up here and sits down, one of these 2 chairs. Pick your chair. They're not assigned. Thinking, because my family's from Chico, from Butte County.
Oh, wow.
And have a lot of deputies up there who are family members and the stuff that they're going through. And businesses that they own and those kinds of things. And there's not a lot of communication right now that's going on. Because once they get on the phone, they just start crying because it's hitting them. Well, they've lost everything. We've been able to shuttle them into family members in the surrounding areas, and as far south as as Lodi. But it's going to be a tough and long haul to even kind of recover for this. And it's a reminder that it can happen anywhere. It constantly reminds me of the fire at Quail Lakes when like 17 homes went up because of something that started on the freeway and hit the fence and then hit those homes and damaged 23 others. So, that was right there on I-5. So it can happen. So I encourage those viewers or those who are in the district to have a go bag, set aside so that if they're told to move, they can move. They can just pick up and go and get out of harm's way. So, there's always, we talk about defensible space at, in regards to wildland, but there's defensible space in your own homes. Stacking things right against your structure, blocking access to the backyard through the gates. All of those things, we need to have defensible space in our own homes. So I encourage people to take a look around their own homes. What can they do to be proactive? And if you see something, report something. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, Director Gleason, if you come here December 19th, I hope you wait for the rest of us to show up December 20th. It's actually Thursday, December 20th is the
Okay.
next meeting. And I hope you attend next month, too.
I'm going to be out of town.
You're going to be out of town. Okay, well, thanks for the,
But can I ask that we close with a moment of silence for those who lost their lives?
Absolutely.
As a result of the campfire?
Before we close, I just do want to, add in here the fire station at Station 35, the timeline, the schedule for that. Just received word that is from December. It's being moved to February.
February.
We are, yeah. So that is being pushed back to February for completion and move in. And then also that is going to cause or push back that remodel for Station 31. But just as I mentioned, those are things that are still actively on people's calendars and still in that flow of work that's happening. So just received word for that and wanted to.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. My question regarding Station 31 was more what has been done so we are ready to go once we move into Station 35 and we can start on 31. Has all the bids been received and all that stuff? Because nothing's been brought to us, and the station committee hasn't had any meetings, so, or 2x2s. So that was more of my question, is making sure we're not waiting till we move out before we start moving forward.
Yeah, no,
So-
Understood.
But thank you for that. And I do want to echo what many of the other directors already commented, was the dedication that our staff has had for those extreme conditions, both north of us and south of us, and the wildland fires. And you're right, it has affected everybody, even where we are. And I am more concerned about the emotional piece of it afterwards. It's someone's described it, it's like a war zone, and it's just that bad. And I believe the last update, hour and a half ago, it was around 65 confirmed fatalities and up to 600 still unaccounted for. So yes, I do agree we should close with the moment of silence. So if there's nothing else, I will ask you all to take a moment of silence before we adjourn for our next meeting, December 20th at 7 p.m. Thank you. Oh, one more thing, yes. Going back to item 6A or 6B, that's not on the agenda, but we do have the new Engine 35 out front for display.
Exit 35 is out front. You're more than welcome to take a look and roll up some doors. Yeah, and then also Fire Chief Neely will have some more information next week.
Sounds great. Thank you.